Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I want to discuss racism versus jealousy and how these two overlap. First, I want to mention the video I did a few weeks ago on how white women tried to humble mixed race beauty. And I showed a clip of The Craft with the one white character who was racist, but she also had a jealousy towards the character who was black. A lot of mixed race people go through, not just with white people, but also with black people and even other cultures as well. And depending on what you're mixed with, you can go through that with your own people. I have had the undermining from white women, from black women, and Hispanic women. I've had that. So I know exactly how it is. And it's a subtle difference when it comes from white women. And every group has their subtle jealousy with the covert racist undertones to their compliments or backhanded compliments, whatever it is. But you can recognize the difference and you experience it differently as a mixed race person because you kind of belong to all of those groups in one way or the other. I have a really good friend, one of my best friends. I had lunch with her today, and I was discussing my channel with her. She's a white woman. We were talking about that video of how white women try to humble. Before I could even really explain anything about that video, she knew exactly what I was talking about and said it's the undermining and backhanded compliments that some white women do because they feel inferior to people of color who are doing or seemingly doing better than them. And I said, wow, you said exactly what that video was. And it's interesting because a lot of mixed people do go through this, but not too many of us either talk about it or maybe we feel like we're crazy. And it's not. When I look at the comment section of that video, there's like 300 something comments. And most of the people know exactly what I'm talking about and have went through this. And these are women that are mixed, women that are black, women that are Asian. They have all went through similar things because it is something that some white women do. Jealousy that is wrapped in with racism. Now, it's not always going to be racism involved with the jealousy, but I do think that the racism part has an underlying jealousy because that's what I think racism really is. It is a jealousy. It's a fear of someone that you perceive as inferior becoming superior over you. So you try everything in your power to get that person to feel low about themselves. Example, black and white. And still to this day, a lot of racist people treat black people like they're nothing and want them to not succeed. We have systemic racism, and then people who say that doesn't exist, that's another way to undermine black people and telling them that, oh, that doesn't exist. Systemic racism doesn't, white privilege doesn't exist. All these things are ways to continuously put that superiority as the white race. But the same thing goes for these little itty bitty, even if it sounds petty to some people, but these little interactions that I've had in my life and other people have had where you're in a setting with certain white people and they say compliments that start talking about your features. It's different if they just say, oh, you're not that pretty or whatever, which I've never had any of them say that. But if they say, wow, I didn't know you were black because you're so pretty, or you're pretty for a black girl, or, well, maybe because you're mixed with white, that's why you're pretty. That is not just jealousy. That is also a part of racism, and it goes together. And then also you have to kind of be in that environment to see what it is too. Because a covert racism is just what it is. It's not overt. So sometimes it's not that obvious. You have to kind of read the room, not just hear it, but listening and really taking in what they're saying. If someone is saying to you, your hair is really kinky, it's really pretty though, that's not a good compliment. I mean, yeah, you said it was pretty, but why'd you have to go there with the kinky first? So that's what I'm saying with some of these subtle comments. And my white friend already said that before I could even explain the video to her. She listened to it and knew exactly what I was talking about as a white woman. And then, of course, my family, they knew exactly what I was talking about, too. What I find that's different with some people in the white community versus some people in the black community is that some of these people in the white community can remove themselves and the emotion out of the issue and know that some of them do that, but that doesn't mean them, as in I don't do that, so the shoe doesn't fit me. I'm not going to wear that. But what I have noticed for some, again, some Black people, Black women, they will say, oh, it's not jealousy. You think everybody's jealous of you because you're mixed. All you mixed people always think that someone's jealous of you. And this is how you treat us. It's dark-skinned women, you light-skinned and mixed women treat us this way. So it's this projection that they put on us for making a video about white women. Why can't you remove yourself from this situation? Because for one, it's not even about Black women at this time. But even if it was about Black women, remove yourself because it's not you. My best friend in the world is a Black woman, and she has said, unfortunately, it's usually Black people that treat mixed people the worst. It's ingrained in us because of this society in the US, at least. White supremacy is still a thing. It doesn't mean that every Black person feels this way, but it is something that happens. And when you have a mixed race person, especially those that have white mothers, and if it's a woman, if it's a boy, I feel like it's not that bad because my brother, he didn't get treated badly by Black women at all. He had a completely different experience than I did. But for me, I noticed that people just automatically think that I think I'm all that if I say someone is jealous, but they made a clearly jealous or racist comment. And that goes for both sides. If a Black person says to me that you think you're all that because you're mixed or you're light skinned, or if they call me piss colored or high yellow, or if they say that I am white, they say things about features that are different from theirs. That means that there is not only jealousy, but there is a covert racism to it. And both can be racist. You don't have to just be white to be racist. That's the difference. They do overlap. There is outwardly just racist people that don't even care about any of the jealousy or beauty or whatever. They're just racist. And then there's people that are just jealous and don't care. They're not racist. They're just jealous. But there's also that fine line where they do combine. And that is what I have experienced when it comes to white women in this case. I don't really see too many people talking about that. That's why I think that video has a lot of comments, because I don't think that people really talk about it as much. I'm sure there's people out there that have mentioned it, but I just wanted to point out too that I didn't notice too many white people getting offended by that, unless they were internalizing that, if they really feel that way, because there was nothing in that video that I can think of that would even suggest that it's everyone, it's all. And I always have to emphasize it's not all. But that is something that I've noticed in my experience as a mixed race person, that we kind of get both ends of people showing their jealousy or racism or both based off of the way that we look, whatever our features are. And I've noticed that some mixed people, if they're mixed with Black and white, and if the mixed person has 4C hair, I've noticed some Black women saying, well, your hair is not even that great. You don't even have the good hair. I've even heard content creators saying, I'm not seeing a lot of the good hair anymore like it used to be, talking about mixed race people. And it's just interesting to me. If someone's mixed and you're saying something about their hair, oh, your hair is just 4C like mine. You got nappy hair. You don't have that good hair. So you don't even look mixed. I look more mixed than you. Then that sounds self-hating. Like it sounds like you're hating on yourself, because 4C is typically a Black feature. Those are the differences that I've noticed between the Black community and the white community as far as racism and jealousy goes and how it overlaps. In the white community, it comes from a place of they are on the pedestal. And for the most part in this country, white beauty standards have always been at the center. But now that that's being challenged by someone, rather they're mixed race or anyone of color, will look at and feel like it's being threatened. I actually had a person comment on that video saying they sense that you're trying to replace them, and that's why they act the way that they do. I'm not sure if this was a man or a woman. They had no picture, but it was interesting because I don't see us as trying to replace anyone. I just think we're all existing, but that psyche, what's going on, is actually probably true. They may not be conscious of it. It's probably a subconscious thought, but white women have always been at the top. And if they do have some type of insecurity, they might feel that way when a mixed race or a Black woman or Asian woman or Hispanic woman comes into the room and steals the show. That can definitely be a thing. So I'm not going to discount that comment at all. But as far as in the Black community, I don't think it's so much as racism, although it very well can be when it comes to mixed race people having like a white mother, for an example. But I do think that it's more of the projection and self-hate of the Black features based off of the white pedestal or the proximity to white pedestal that's been placed. And it's not the Black community's fault. It's really the brainwashing that the whole entire world has been under. However, mixed race people get the brunt of that in the Black communities because they're praised to a certain extent, but then sometimes they're not. They're knocked down. And that goes with the video I mentioned, to build you up to tear you down effect. You will be built up, but if you do something wrong or perceived wrong, then now you're looked at as the enemy or that you think you're better. And if you don't have the perceived better features, as in you don't have the type 3 hair, you don't have light skin or colored eyes or whatever the case is, to some Black people, they can see you as, well, you're not even mixed or you don't really look mixed. I know people lighter than you, or I know people who have better hair than you and they're not even mixed. That is like a self-hating, because why, if a mixed race person happens to have 4C hair, for example, why would you say anything, oh, they don't have the good hair? That doesn't make sense to me. So that is more of a projection of self-hate versus racism, but there is a jealousy to it as well, because that's the stereotype that we have type 3 hair, type 2 hair, and that can be pedestalized in the Black community. So if we don't have it, it's kind of a ha-ha, you didn't get the good hair, so you're really not all that. So it kind of shows more of that projection and self-hate, in my opinion. So that's the weird duality that mixed people go through when it comes to it. It's on both sides. It's different, but it's still something that is recognized. I don't see talked about and analyzed that much. I can definitely go a lot deeper, but I don't want this video to be too long. If any of you want to hear more about the psyche of the racism versus the jealousy, please leave a comment, or if you guys have experienced this and know what I'm saying, please comment and let me know. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time.